take that back. I think Joshua is talking about Buck's Mount Rushmore here. Okay, I'm so glad I never got the alarm clock uniform. Tope Daddy, my favorite was Carl Williams jersey. That guy was Carl the Truth Williams there as a punt returner and a wide receiver. Very underrated player. Cubs, they're patient, fifth in walk rate, powerful, third in isolated power, and they hit for average, third in batting average. Barber, says Carl. David, John McKay, Rich McKay, Jason Light, and Malcolm Glazier. Thank you, David. Appreciate it. We'll take it. Yeah. Interesting. Joshua says it's hard. I'm going Selman, Sapp, Brooks, Evans, and TB. I think he went Tom Brady. Tom goes because absolutely, Joshua. I can completely agree with you. Mike DeRoche, my friend from Canada, right there. Hey, Peter. Hey, Louie. What's going on, boss? How you doing? Christopher Cole. Whoa. What is this? We got another phone call. This is Mr. Franco himself of the Tampa Bay Buccaneer fans, one of the great fans and one of the friends of our show here, Mr. Victory Monday himself. Franco, what's going on? Welcome to the Evolution.
What's going on, baby?
What's going on, man? Hey, listen, I want to ask you something really quick. Should I go 8 o'clock tomorrow night here live for the draft on the Sports Web?
I think you should, man. I think it's going to be an interesting and exciting time.
Well, let me ask you, where are you going to be tomorrow night? Are you going to the draft party? And if you are, can you give me a live? Can you give me a live shot from there so I can send you a link and you can give me the atmosphere, if you will, of Bucks fandom, the 50th anniversary there?
Well, what I'm going to do is bring my food truck out there, and I can give you a live shot from my food truck right across from Raymond James Stadium, and I would definitely be more than willing to do that.
I love it, and I definitely would love to promote that food truck, my friend. So,
yes, sir.
We'll definitely do that. We'll work on that. Let's talk about how we can promote this and help each other out. You know me, I'm always about Bucks fans, especially yourself. You're a Libra just like I am, so we're definitely going to come together and collaborate when it comes to the Sports Web. Now, tell me what's on your mind tonight, my friend. One day from the NFL draft.
One day from the NFL draft. You know, I don't want to go too far into detail, but I got a little intel, man. But I'm really hoping that tomorrow's draft, Jason Light puts that hat back on, man, and the draft team has done their due diligence, and I really want us to bulk up this defense, man. I'm really hoping for a big-time edge rusher. I want a splash playmaker first pick, man. I want somebody big, bro.
Okay, so you want an edge rusher? You want a Izaraku from Boston College? You want a Campbell from Alabama? You want a corner? You want a safety? What does Franco want?
Man, I mean, now are you talking about after the first round? Or
I'm talking about first round.
First round. I want somebody off the edge. I want a DN. I want an end. I want an edge rusher.
There you go.
I want a rusher.
There you go. There you go.
I want an edge
friend.
rusher, man.
Yep. This is what we've been talking about all night long. I say edge rusher. I say you go with Izaraku from Boston College. We'll see if he's there or not. There's some other names out there. Mikael Williams, the edge from Georgia. Maybe Mike Green, although, Ira Kaufman doesn't even think he'll be on the draft board because of his character issues out of Marshall. He's another player that you have to watch out for, but he's got the production. It's just the character issues. There have been multiple things off the field. We'll just leave it at that. So we'll see what Jason Light and has in store. What else is on your mind tonight, man?
I kind of think this year's draft, man, is going to be somewhat similar to things that we've seen in the past where, everybody has their predictions and what they think everything should look like.
Right.
And I think it's going to be some shockers tomorrow, man. I think they're going to blow the roof off this draft tomorrow, and it's not going to look anything like anyone predicts it. Like it's going to go so left field. Yeah. I just got this strange feeling, man.
And I tell you right now, I love the fact that not only you're a great fan of this team and you've been out there at the tailgates for What the Buck, of course, as we do it before the game, which is awesome. And you do your Victory Monday. Everybody loves that. But we actually got some fellow Bucks fans that are representing the Tampa Bay area right there in Green Bay that are going to be announcing picks. I want to get them on and talk to them because that's amazing. Fans of this team are the lifeblood of what the Sports Web is all about. We love the Bucks here, and we made no bones about it. So I think that's so cool. I'm just wondering when they're going to ask you. when you're going to represent. That's what I want to know.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But shouts out to everybody who got the opportunity to go out, man. You know, Mama spent she's taking a great group out there representing what the Buck, man.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we got some fans all around, man. You know, in different groups, but all Bucks fans going out there and gonna represent us to the fullest out there in Green Bay. And you know, shouts out to them guys. You know, safe travels and whatnot. And you know, if you know, to anybody out there, you don't necessarily have to be a fan of the Buccaneers, man. Anybody who is a fan of football,
Yeah.
you know, if you ever get the opportunity to go and experience the draft, you know, it is electrifying, man. And it's like the tip off to your football season. It is so charging. Like, yeah,
yes.
it is. The atmosphere is ridiculous, man.
Yes, that's what it's all about. It's the start of football season. I always tell everybody. So what else is on your mind tonight, my friend?
I don't know, man. You know, Pete, I know you do you cover wrestling too, bro. You know, I haven't been keeping up with wrestling, but damn it, man, you know, I'm in my kitchen. I'm getting ready to prepare my food truck Saturday night, and I just so happened to throw Peacock on, and I caught the last match of WrestleMania, and I was like, holy hell. That whole Paul Heyman debacle, that shit.
Love it. I listen. I love the first night of WrestleMania. I love, you know, Paul Heyman turning on not only CM Punk, turning on Roman Reigns, and he gave him the Greco low blow, and he did it to Roman Reigns like he did it like Ric Flair style, even better than that. I thought that was just cinematic. And then of course, Monday,
he got in there.
Oh, he got in there, and
that was hilarious.
Yes, but the second night of WrestleMania with John Cena, I thought was largely disappointing, and the reason why, and we're going to talk about this on Turnbuckle Talk.
So.
Well, we'll talk about it because The Rock had some comments about it, but The Rock wasn't involved. Yeah, Travis Scott. Listen, we talked about Travis Scott, how you should receive a receipt, if you will. I just don't understand why he's a part of it and The Rock is not a part of it.
I would have given him a receipt right across the face.
I know you would have. I know you're not the biggest Travis Scott fan, and I understand it. But to me, it was just flat. The second main event was flat.
The explanation that The Rock gave behind the whole Pat McAfee on his show, you know, he kind of detailed it, and he pretty much just brought it out like he didn't want to be a part of it. Like once they did the whole storyline, the whole build up with John Cena turning on Cody Rhodes,
yeah,
he felt like that was enough. So he felt like at that point, you know, his work within that was done. So that's, you know, and he pretty much said he just stepped back and just let it build itself. But I don't know, man.
That doesn't work for me, because if you bring out Travis Scott. And Louis, I know you want, but you're bringing out Travis Scott and you're talking about taking my soul, and you're doing this whole big thing in the Elimination Chamber, and then you're just saying, "Oh, we're just gonna go away." No.
He's the final boss. That's but that's what it comes down to. I think I think what they're trying to do is that he's the final boss. He's the gatekeeper of everything. You get what I'm saying? If that makes sense, I think he's just the gatekeeper of WWE. Like, I don't know how else to put it, but we'll get into it because I got a lot of interesting things that I'd like to say about it, and we should definitely talk about what was the best match overall.
We will.
And I think
we will definitely do that.
That's going to surprise some people for what I have to say about what
probably will surprise some people. We always love to talk wrestling on this show, and Franco, you're always welcome to talk wrestling on Turnbuckle Talk and talk Bucks and talk anything you want to, my friend. All right.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all, man. And thank you for everything you do, Pete.
Hey, man. Thank you for everything you do, Mr. Victory Monday. And use that second call if you feel froggy, all right?
Yes, sir. Will do.
All right. Good stuff there. Franco, big-time major fan for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. I love when Buccaneer fans call this show. I love when people want to talk NFL draft. I love when people want to talk, you know, NFL football in general. And I love when people want to talk about wrestling, because they always say, you know, wrestling doesn't belong on the show. And fans, webheads have told you over and over again, they want to talk WrestleMania. And we will just,
a lot of people like to talk about wrestling. I mean, there's a lot of, you know, many, you know, and again, to all the webheads out there, we understand that there's a lot of other Buccaneer podcasts, and you're here with us, and we appreciate that. Everybody, it's not just us, it's everybody. Everybody's a wrestling fan, man. They just some people just don't want to admit it, but they're a wrestling fan. Everybody's talking about it. You know how many other podcasts I've heard already? Them talking about it.
Yes, Harry the Greek.
Talking about it.
Harry the Greek is a secret wrestling fan. He loves Dick the Bruiser and he loves Dusty Rhodes. And he told me one of these days he's going to definitely come on. And when he comes on and talks wrestling, this is what I'm going to play. There we go. Let's see here. He's probably just like, I'm going to kill you. All right. From the sports, Derek Brooks, Warren Sapp, Leroy Selman, Ron Day Barber, Mike Evans. Thank you, Sun Devil Day. Appreciate that. I miss Culver House. Will you shut up and be quiet? No Mrs. Culver House at all. You're a jerk.
Oh my God. Who the hell cares?
Carl says we need more faces on Mount Rushmore, the Buccaneers. I agree. Joshua says, you're right. You know you want that free jersey. No, I don't. Dave, either you're with us or you're against us. Love it, Joshua. Oh, Mean Gene, there you go. Mike D. Roche, Evans, Sapp, Alstott, and Brooks. Mike again. I like the Sun Devil running back. His name escapes me. Scattaboo. I think that's his name. Love me some Iris, says Cole. Mike D. Roche. R.I.P. Steve Mongo. Michael Scattaboo. Yes. Cam Scattaboo. First timer. This is amazing. Thank you, Calvin. Appreciate you. Come back here. Always feel free to call the phone lines. They are open. 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. So welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. We need the documentary. I agree. I love to be in that. That'd be amazing. Being a Bucks documentary like that. Bears trade for Kittle. We'll see. This is pure gold. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it. Yeah. Mike says we need a corner. We'll see. Cam Jordan went just before Claiborne did, Peter. All right. I thought he went after, but I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Can you look that up? 2010 NFL draft, please. We need Denzel Burke, says Mike. Classic episode tonight. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in. Bucks, no matter who they draft, are still an 8-win team.
Oh, my God. Who the hell cares?
Start at 8. Roger Shue with the YouTube. A super chat. Bear down. Go Cubs. Go live at 8. We'll see. Cubs win 7-6. Win series over the Dodgers. Cubs win. I loan Peter the large gun. Thank you, Tribal Troll. Go Cubs go. David says, here's what I would do the next 3 days. Edge as a Raku. Trade up. Get Revel. Andrew Mukumba, safety, Edge, Robinson, Jamari Caldwell, and Elijah Badger. Thank you very much. Told you, Pete, Bears moving up. Jim, Peter, you do the first round night for the draft. I'm definitely thinking about starting at 8 o'clock. Yes.
Damn it, Jim, what the hell is the matter with you?
Check your super chats. Absolutely. We got some there. Thank you very much once again.
Appreciate that.
Christopher Cole, Raw and NXT was a lot better. It was. Sun Devil Dave, Scattaboo may go early second round, and Cole, CSB brother. Culver House is the worst owner in the history of sports. Easily. All right. We'll get some more draft talk here from you guys, and then we'll go into Turnbuckle Talk because I'm getting ready to do it because there's so many things to talk about. I'm excited about it. But going back to Peter Schrager of ESPN, Tatoria McMillan, the wide receiver, Arizona. He says the all-world athlete would be the perfect addition to the wide receiver room with a mix of veterans and young players. The Bucs love Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Jalen McMillan coming off a solid rookie year. McMillan would be the perfect student for the veterans to teach. I do not think this is as far-fetched as a lot of people believe.
No.
Because if your edge rushers are off the board, if they make a run, if you're not going to get a corner or a safety, let's just say you don't necessarily believe that Chris Godwin is going to come back right away. He's going to be 100%. On top of it, Mike Evans is getting up there in age. Chris Godwin, a little bit up there in age. We'll see. Jalen McMillan, young player. But then after that, you saw the injury situation with this Bucs wide receiving room with Sterling Shepard, not bad, and then Trey Palmer. And then who else? Raheem Jarrett. So if there is a McMillan on the board and you look at his body, a lot like Mike Evans, right? Mike Evans, Calvin Johnson,
6'5",
maybe.
212. 4-5.
Yeah. Rodney Barber thinks, Matthew Golden out of Texas. Speed burner. 4'2", 4'3" guy.
I wouldn't be opposed to that. because I do think that this Buccaneers wide receiver room does need a little bit more speed. I like McMillan's speed. I thought Trey Palmer would have been that guy because he showed some speed. Just I don't know where he is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean they can go a couple of ways. But back to that 2010. It wasn't the 2010 draft. It was actually the 2011 draft.
Yes, 2011. Yes.
Cam Jordan was picked at 24th, and Adrian Claiborne was picked 20th.
See, I told you now, Cole.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. You know how I know that? Because I was there at the press box with 10:10 a.m. with Steve White, Sam the Godfather, and Jenna Lane was a guest on the show. She was calling in as an analyst at the time. I remember this. And I know who the first round pick was. The first player in that draft was Mr. Cam Newton to the Carolina Panthers.
And then it was
the greatness
Von
of
Miller.
And you have Blaine Gabbert to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Julio Jones was in that draft. AJ Green was in that. That was a loaded draft,
Mark
actually.
Ingram was in that draft. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, that was. I'm actually looking at it right now. It was Cam Newton. Wow.
Okay.
Cam Newton, Von Miller,
Yep.
Marcel Darius, AJ Green, Patrick Peterson, Julio Jones, Alvin Smith, Jake Locker. Oh, geez.
Jake Locker to Tennessee.
Tyron
Once again,
Smith, JJ Watt, Christian Ponder. But a lot of, Christian
Ponder
Ponder
to the
was,
Vikings there. Yes.
yeah. Who else?
State.
Nick Farley, Robert Quinn.
Nick
That was
Farley from Auburn, and that was the national championship team. Go ahead.
Yeah, he went to Detroit. Robert Quinn was in St. Louis.
Correct.
Mike Pouncey, Miami. Ryan Kerrigan, Washington. Nate Solder to the Patriots.
Real quick, a lot of fans wanted at the time Kerrigan to go to the Bucks, but of course he goes to Washington. I think that's who you're thinking of there, Cole. Go ahead.
Yep. Cameron Hayward was also in that draft. He was picked 31 to the Steelers.
Ironhead was another killer of the Bucks when he was with the Saints. Now his son went to the Steelers. Yep, go ahead.
Muhammad Wilkerson, remember that? That was somebody that that a lot of Buck fans wanted to.
Yep.
He went to the Jets. That didn't really work out too well.
Nope.
I mean, this Prince Akuma, I butcher his last name, but Prince Akumakora, I believe his last name was
Akamora.
That's what it was.
Yes, Akamora.
New York Giants, pick 19th. Corey Leggett, San Diego. Wow.
Oh, look at this. Look at this. Boy, oh boy. Would you look at all the guests that are calling in tonight? And they're just calling in on the phone. Yes, it is. Let's go out to JC Allen of Sports Illustrated. Welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. I got my gang of Massachusetts guys right here. I got Louie from the Frozen Pirate Podcast. I got my guy here, JC Allen, killing it, man. Welcome back to the Sports Web, boss. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Just busy. Just finished up my final mock draft, getting ready to publish that tomorrow. Finished up all my best fits for the Bucks through round 1 through 7 each position.
Okay.
So,
are you going live tomorrow? Are you going live tomorrow on your sick podcast? Or are you going to be here on the Sports Web? And should I go live at 8:00?
I will be at the facility after the pick is made, and probably after we speak to the new player. I'll probably go live for an instant reaction on the podcast. But there's plenty of time for me to call in prior to that. Or after that.
Or you could video in? You could probably video in, can't you?
I might be able to video in while I walk around.
Okay. Walk around and we'll get you on here. We'll send you the link. So there you go. I think I'm getting convinced here to go at 8:00. I was thinking of just going 9, but I think
I told him 8:00. You got to do it.
He said 8:00 here. So he's
8:00's a good time.
All right. All right. So what are we looking at here? Because I've seen some of your mock drafts. I like the kid from Boston College as a Raku there, but you kind of go with a little bit different here. Barron, Starks, how you feeling about this Bucks team at 19?
Yeah, it's such a weird draft because really it's really going to be, kind of pick your poison, pick your flavor. What do you like? There's just a limited amount of blue chip, true first round players. And, once you get to pick 12, 15, all the way down to, in the late second round, there's really not too much difference between the players unless somebody starts to fall. For me, when I look at it, at the Bucks, and I look at what their needs are and what their holes are, there's really only one position on this roster that I think that they could upgrade and find immediate impact starter at, and that's either at safety or nickel cornerback. they've talked about wanting to get Tyke Smith, playing at safety to get him on the field more often, not coming out and just being a nickel player. So, if that's the case, then they will need to start a nickel. They've got Christian Izzy in there, who they're high on, but the depth there after that is non-existent. You're back to sliding in Tyke Smith or Antoine Winfield Jr. if something happens to Izzy. And remember, he's coming off shoulder surgery as well, after getting injured late in the season last year. So, if that's the case, he's out. You move Tyke or Antoine. Now you've got Kayvon Merriweather. So looking at safety, looking at nickel, looking at someone who could potentially play both of those spots, to me, makes a lot of sense for the Bucs in the first round. I tend to lean that way. Starks, Jahdae Barron really intrigue me as two players who I think can come in and make an immediate impact for this Bucs team. But there are certainly other players there as well that I like.
Talk about Barron a little bit, because we've heard here, lots of mocks out there. I think Miller has him there, and they say he's not typical size profile for the Bucs. I mean, that's why I would say the Bucs wouldn't go with him, because he's not the lengthy, he's not Jamel Dean or Zion McCollum. But what does he, besides the versatility, what does he bring to the table that you think would intrigue Jason Light and Todd Bowles in this defense?
Yeah, I mean, he's a baller. He's versatile. He can play outside corner. He can play nickel. He can play safety as well. He's aggressive. He closes downhill in the run game. He's a strong tackler, which is why a lot of people think he'd be a really good nickel cornerback. He excels in zone coverage. He's got tremendous feel and anticipation for where the ball is going to go before it even leaves the quarterback's hands. A lot of the time as well, the quarterback will just look him off. We'll see, Barron's over there. He's in tight coverage and won't even throw the ball that way. He's got great closing speed. He had 5 interceptions last year, 11 pass breakups. There are some knocks. He doesn't have the size, obviously. His long speed is something that's, can be longing for. And he can get handsy when he's beaten, but he's one of the best corners in the draft. And he can play all over the place. And really that's what he brings, is like a chess piece for Todd Bowles' defense. With, same thing with Starks. He's got different strengths and weaknesses, and I can get into that. But, with Todd Bowles, if you've got Barron or Starks, Tyke Smith, and Winfield there's really some endless possibilities, some really creative looks and disguises that teams really won't know who's coming on a blitz, who's playing the slot, there's really a lot of interchangeability there.
Is there a chance that Will Johnson from Michigan is on the board? Because Jenna Lane thinks there's a possibility. Of course, the reason why you would stay away from Johnson from Michigan is because simply of what you got with Dean. Johnson wasn't able to stay on the field, although he's a big-time playmaker, 9 interceptions there. So do you think there's a possibility that Johnson could be on the board because of the injury situation, or is the profile, the characteristics, and the statistics just too much for teams to pass up on?
Yeah, I think he could be there. I just don't know if the Bucs are interested. I haven't really heard anything about him being interested. Wasn't a combine interview. There wasn't a 30 visit. There wasn't really, reported sightings of them at, his pro day. So I really don't think he's someone that they're going to be. He's more like a press off coverage zone cornerback.
Okay.
He's not really great in zone. It would really depend. The Bucs really want to start to get home with 4 edge rushers, which if they brought in Hassan Reddick, and I think they'll probably add a defensive tackle to rotate with the other guys. Yaya's poised to take out. If that's the case and they can get home with 4, then they can go to more of a press man look than more of that zone off zone coverage, which is they play, I believe, like 76% of the time they're in that coverage. So they can really get back to that press man, and Jamel Dean actually thrives in that. Zion McCollum, with his length and his size, he would do really well in press man coverage. But you really, it's hard to play that coverage style when you're not getting home, because if you make a false step somewhere, or you're going up against a certain player who maybe you bite on a double move, now you're screwed. So if they want to get back to that style, I think Will Johnson fits. There's a lot of talk about Maxwell Harrison as well, the corner from Kentucky. It's a little early for me for him, but
4.28 on the 40, but he's
he
can't teach speed, but he's a little bit smallish at this point. I mean,
same thing.
Yes.
But if the Bucks are going to that press man south, they're looking to kind of evolve the defense to involve that more as their calling card in the secondary. Then he makes a little bit more sense, because even though he doesn't have that typical size, he's got really good length, and he's really good at jamming receivers and being physical throughout the route to kind of get them off tempo and off out of rhythm. And he's really physical through the contact point too, So I do like him. Obviously, bigger receivers he'll struggle with, but I'm talking about like Mike Evans, 6'5" guys and stuff like that. But he projects to be like a solid cornerback number 2 with just really high upside and ball skills.
All right, we got JC Allen of Sports Illustrated on the line here. We're going to go out to our new co-host from also Massachusetts, so this is going to be interesting. Louis from the Frozen Pirate Podcast.
Hey, he'll get the accent. He'll get the accent.
Yes,
the Pirate Podcast guy. JC, I got to ask you a question. So obviously for me, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a glaring hole in the defense, and for me, I think that's corner/safety. In my opinion, I think they need to go corner. Somebody who can be versatile for Todd Bowles. I know Todd Bowles likes those guys that can play nickel, corners, safety. What do you think about the kid from Notre Dame, Xavier Watts? I mean, for me, a big concern for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is they're not creating turnovers on defense. This kid had 6 interceptions. I believe he had 51 or 53 solo tackles. How do you think he would fit if he's available there at 19? How do you think he would fit for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Because he is very versatile. He can play safety, he can play corner, nickel. What do you say about him?
Yeah, Watts is one of my favorite prospects in this draft, and I'm glad you're asking me about players that I've actually written up and have his best fits. In the second round, he's my best fit.
Well, look at that. Look at that right there. Yes.
I don't think he makes it there, but if he does, I would, and they don't go safety early, I absolutely love him. He's a ball hawk, excellent route recognition, closing burst to make plays on the balls, tremendous football IQ, good twitch and anticipation. He's versatile enough to play in multiple schemes, multiple positions, and at multiple levels. He's got good trigger downhill and run support, won't get fooled with eye candy, and baiting the quarterback to throw his way. There's a few things knocks on him. He's improved his tackling in 2024, but it still needs some refining. He's willing to get his nose dirty as a run defender, but can be over aggressive, outrun the play. And he's got a little bit of a stiffness in his hips and his back pedal, especially when he's in transition. But yeah, I mean, you talk about it: 82 tackles, 3.5 for a loss, a forced fumble, 16 pass breakups, 6 interceptions. I believe he's had like 15 interceptions over the last 2 seasons. He was the defensive player of the year in college football in 2023, winning the what was the name of it? The Bronco Nagurski Award, nation's top
Nagurski, yes.
Nagurski,
yes.
Unanimous consensus, 2-time All-American.
Yes, gotcha, buddy.
I like him a lot. Team captain. He just fits what the Bucks look for as a person, as a player, and the things that really he needs to fix is they're coachable,
Well, they are definitely coachable. I mean, and that's where you go, and this is where the challenge is for Jason Lion. I mean, I know a lot of people are getting excited about number 19, but let's say something happens where there is a quarterback that is on the board at that point, say a Shedeur Sanders or Jackson Dart, and somebody wants to trade up. You would think that Jason Lion has to take that call. You trade down, you pick up a couple of extra selections there, and that's where you start to really work, right, JC?
Yeah, I think you're probably looking at the Rams as a cutoff.
Okay.
For where they would be willing to move down, how far they'd be willing to move down. I think if you look at
26, by the way, is where the Rams are at. So
correct,
just so everybody know.
25, the Texans make sense. 24 with the Packers, that makes sense. If those teams are trying to get maybe ahead of the Chargers for a wide receiver, or ahead of certain team maybe trying to move up for a tackle or something in the case of the Texans. So I think I think those ones. I think even the Chargers are in play at 22. But those are the teams I think are where you're kind of looking at as far as, move down possibility. Maybe someone, if things don't go the way the Broncos want and they can't find a trade partner to move up and they're looking at Hampton or one of these other wide receivers, maybe one of these teams move up, even the Chargers at 22, give you a third or a fourth round pick to move up there. To jump ahead of the Broncos to grab a wide receiver. So, there's definitely a possibility. I toyed around in one of my mocks. I had them move all the way back with the Bears. Just they've done a lot of work on their offense and defensive side of the ball. Maybe they want to get another premier type of player. But I don't think they'd go that far back. I don't think they'd go to I don't think we'll see another situation like when they move back to the top of the second round, because they can move to 33 with the Browns if they want to come up for a quarterback.
Sure.
They can move to 35, I think it is, with the Giants, or 34 with the Giants if they're trying to do the similar thing. I don't think they want to go out of the second round. I think they value that fifth-year option, especially when they land the player that's worth it. And I just don't think they'd want to go that far back. So 26 is to me is my cap. And those Rams, they like to say F them picks a lot. So.
Oh, they sure do. They certainly do.
Oh, yeah.
We're on with JC Allen of Sports Illustrated here talking NFL Draft 2025. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter, along with Louie from the Frozen Pirate podcast. Let's talk about Jahad Campbell here, the linebacker of Alabama. What are you hearing? I know you've got some sources. Are the Bucs interested? Do you think he's there at 19? If he is there at 19, do you select him even with, the shoulder problems we've heard now? He may be ready for training camp. It was October now. It's his doctor, keyword, his doctor saying he'll be ready by training camp. So do you think the Bucs would be interested? Are they running to that podium, JC, to take him at 19?
I thought they would about a week and a half ago.
Okay.
Maybe even a week ago, I thought that would have been the move. But there are medical concerns. I love the video that came out. He just had shoulder surgery and he's already running. Well, okay.
Okay.
Why wouldn't he be able to run?
What's he running?
Yeah.
Where is he running?
But
is he running to the podium? That's what I want to know.
I believe there are concerns too with the lower extremity as well. So maybe that's kind of what was being shown to teams. There's also, agents are reaching out to insiders and trying to prop their draft stock up.
Was it a hamstring? Because I heard it was also a hamstring. Was there a hamstring issue there?
Not a hamstring. I don't want to kind of get into what it was, but it was flagged when the medicals came back. Obviously the shoulder is something too. Teams are weighing, will he be back by training camp? Will he be back, later in the season? He's still going to miss all of rookie minicamp, OTAs. Mandatory mini camps, that's a lot to miss. You can do good classroom work and stuff like that, but nothing beats those reps. And also disappointing for fans too, who want to see their first round pick on the field. Not that sways the front office at all in their decision. I really like him. He's a chess piece on defense. I think he can play a little off ball. He definitely. He can play off ball, but definitely a little bit of outside linebacker, kind of Micah Parsons-esque. I wouldn't call him Micah Parsons, but he can play that role and come down, and he's sound in all three phases of the game: coverage against the run, rushing the passer. He's got elite traits, and he should be wildly successful in the next level. There are some things he still needs to work on. He's only had 2 years at off-ball linebacker, so his instincts are still developing, as are his coverage skills from that position. He can attack high when he's tackling, and those medical concerns are really big. But there's no doubting his talent. Todd Bowles said he wants ball hawks and playmakers. He's both. He gets the ball. He's a playmaker when it counts. I think he's got Pro Bowl, potentially all pro potential once he's healthy. But again, it's if you're the Bucs and you're pushing for 2025, do you want to take a mulligan on your first round pick, or do you want to get someone that can help you right away? Again, it goes back to that conversation of where is the quickest path for playing time on your roster for someone to make an impact. To me, that's safety and nickel, which always brings me back to Malachi Starks. Plus, he's played with Tyke Smith. That communication is going to be easy as it is. So And I just think he's one of the best players in the draft. I think he's one of those blue chip players. I just think the league doesn't value that position. For whatever reason, they still don't value that position. They didn't value it when Antoine Winfield Jr. came out. They valued it when Kyle Hamilton came out, but there were still kind of questions. They were trying to put him all over the place. They didn't value it when Brian Branch came out. They didn't value it last year when Cooper DeJean came out. You know, will they value it here at 19? I don't think so, because I think he's a top 10 player, top 12 player. You know, if people value this position, but I still think he can find his way into the first round, and I would love it at 19. But
I know a team that would value him. That's the Baltimore Ravens. He would be perfect because you know, they can do whatever they can keep Hamilton at his safety position, and once again, they can use that chess piece all over the place. Now, with that being said, Peter Schrager's come out and said to Tori, I believe I'm pronouncing his name correctly, McMillan out of Arizona.
I just call him Tet. And I love Tet. I am all for Tet. I think it'd be a great move.
At 19, you go with McMillan and Matthew Golden because Rondé Barber it was said
Matthew
you can't.
Golden for me.
Okay. Why not go? Why McMillan and over Golden then?
I just like what McMillan brings to the room, right? He brings size, and you only have one true size guy out there. I don't think he's Mike Evans, the future incarnate of Mike Evans, but I do think that he brings a similar skill set and can really be a playmaker and difference maker for this team on the outside. And now you get McMillan, you can use him, line him up inside, outside, all over the place. I really like what he brings to the table. I like Golden too, but just in a different way and not in the first round. I'm not huge on him. I think his 4.29 speed is being overhyped. He doesn't play that fast. You know, he's got inside outside flexibility, and he does play bigger than his size. He's only 5'11", but he plays much bigger than that. And he's a great route runner, excellent tempo, good body control, sells his breaks and cuts really well, sells his routes with conviction, displays I sound like Mel Kiper. Impressive tracking skills, strong to the catch point, shows great awareness. He's both a sideline receiver and a ball carrier.
Love it.
But he's not going to make people miss in space. You know, he's got all that speed and really he's not a yak guy. You know, if you're a physical defensive back, you know, you're going to be able to stymie him not only at the line, but also through the route and through the catch point. And he's not going to give you anything as a blocker. You know, he runs his routes good and with conviction, but it's a little sloppy sometimes, and he's got a lot of focus drops. Not only that, he'll ease up when he's not the focal point of the play. There's numerous times where he's not giving up on a play, but, you know,
not there.
Loafing. He's not locked in on the play. So for those reasons, like there's, you know, I'm not super high on him. I'll tell you what let me just find it on my notes, because I didn't put Tet because I don't think he'll be there. If he's there at 19, run that card up, I think. But I didn't.
And a lot of people would say you don't do that because he's a wide receiver. And I would say, well, the reason why you do it, and I don't think it's far-fetched, is because Evans is getting up there in age. Godwin is still coming off an injury. He may not necessarily be 100%. Once again, you got that insurance policy. And then you have, you know.
You've got a big guy on the outside who can play a little power slot, you know, like he's got natural hands. His catch
not better than Sterling Shepard or Trey Palmer, especially Palmer, who's been very disappointing.
People forget that. All people remember from that Chiefs game is that the Bucs didn't get a chance to have the ball in overtime. People seem to forget that they were down to Sterling Shepard as wide receiver 1.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm like.
All three of their wide. None of them.
Depending on rookies, a running back rookie and Jalen McMillan
touchdown to tie the game in that game.
Right.
Like Ryan Miller. Who? Ryan Miller.
Brian Miller. Who?
McMillan would be great. You know, he's a good outside receiver. He's got excellent size. He knows how to use that at the catch point. Versatile enough to play the X, as you know, on the Z, the power slot. He's smooth out of his release. Knows how to find the soft spots in the zone. Works back to the ball on unstructured plays, excellent awareness on sideline throws, and is a threat with the ball in his hands. He had 28 forced missed tackles last season, you know, but he's not that top speed guy like McMillan is. He doesn't have elite acceleration or long speed. He still needs polish and expansion of his route tree because they really only, you know, he's big, strong, contested catch. He's go route, fade route, post route. But he can be disruptive, for his size. He can still be kind of disruptive with physical corners along the line. And, he finds crafty ways to separate. He's not someone who's going to consistently create it, against man coverage. But back-to-back 1,300-plus yard seasons, 84 receptions, 1,300 yards this year, 8 touchdowns. He's a monster. Anyone who thinks that they shouldn't look at him or be excited about him at 19 is crazy. And I like Emeka Egbuka a lot too. I really like Emeka Egbuka.
From
I think
Ohio
he's
State.
Chris Godwin.
Yeah.
He's Chris Godwin-esque. Like,
wow.
Literally, like, he is pro-ready, complete receiver, knows how to play football, knows how to set up routes, knows how to dictate coverage, gain separation. He's not this like super fast guy. He's not a huge yak guy. And physical corners can kind of have some way with him, but ball tracking skills, high point in the catch, strong hands, always working back to the red zone, quarterback threat in the red zone. He's the guy. He's the all-time receptions leader at Ohio State, which is funny because it's not by a lot, but not many people stay at Ohio State long, especially as wide receivers. They just get drafted because they're good. I think he's got 205 receptions. Like, that's not a lot of receptions to be like a 4-year player. Really only 3-year player. But.
Well, I would go back to McMillan here from Arizona. I mean, if I'm Carolina, I'm the Carolina Panthers. That's who I take for my quarterback. That's what you got to do. You got to get your quarterback a number 1 wide receiver, and I just don't think they really have that at this point, and that's what you need. So that's where you go. Yep. I mean, that's where the Bucs went. I know there's comparisons out there, but that's where they went in 2014. They didn't go with the quarterback. Thank God for that. They didn't go with Manziel, because I was tipped off at the time it was going to be Manziel, and it was Evans. Thank God it was, because he turned out to be a Hall of Famer. Louis, you got a question, and then we'll go ahead and wrap this up.
No, I mean, I agree with everything he's saying. JC, he's right on it. I mean, as far as like with McMillan, it would be pretty cool though to have 2 McMillans on the Buccaneers. That'd be kind of trippy. 2 McMillans on the Bucs.
Yes, the McMillan Association. All right, let me go ahead and get this. Give me a prediction for 19. Is it Starks for you, or is it somebody else that falls there at 19?
You'll just have to wait till my mock draft comes out tomorrow.
All right. That's the answer that I love right there. We'll see you tomorrow night, my friend. All right.
Absolutely. Talk to you.
All right. JC Allen of Sports Illustrated right there. That's why I said, guys, you never know who's going to call in. Yeah. Like, we talked about this like off air. We're going to go like an hour and a half or 2 hours. We're going to get Turnbuckle Talk, and we're still going to talk Turnbuckle Talk. We're not going to have a long show tonight. 2 hours and 47 minutes. I mean, Bucks,
Bucks fans were filing in.
Like, what do you want? Like, we got Bucks fans calling in. We got Ira Kaufman, Leo Haggerty, JC Allen. I mean, who's next? Who knows? All right, let's go out to Bigga here. Yo, Peter, yours true up here. Been tuned in for an hour, but had my hands full. Then I was about to call in and got a 30-minute phone call, but I'm here. Let's go, Bucks. Let's go, Bucks. Let's go, Bucks, baby. There we go. Good stuff there. Bigga says, I got to take that some people may not agree with. I'm not in favor of taking an edge in the first or second round. I feel as though it's like a waste of a second-round pick from last year. He mentions Braswell only had 1 sack or 1.5 sacks, and Jason Lyons kind of talked about this, how he's going to break out, much like what Smith did for the Philadelphia Eagles. You would be putting him on the back burner from whoever you pick. You just let JTS develop for how many years? Yaya now in the 3rd year needs to practice reps and game experience to develop. Big again. Meanwhile, you're thin at linebacker and secondary. I think drafting another edge rusher in the round 1 is redundant. I'd rather go with a combination linebacker, safety, corner in the first 2. J.C. Allen's argument for drafting a receiver in the first mirrors my argument for Campbell. Like Evans, LBD's clock is running out. Best linebacker falls to us at 19, even with the injury concerns. He says we should pull the trigger. Even if he can't play for the first few weeks, we could use the early games to evaluate Dennis and bring him along slowly through the season.
I like that.
That's really good thinking. That's a really articulate point. I can't disagree. And I was thinking about this last night, talking to Leo off air about edge. You already have Braswell, you have Yaya, you have Cansey there. You have some pieces, and then also you got Hassan Reddick, but Reddick's only for a 1-year contract. Yeah. I think there's a reason for that. They want to see what he can do. And if he does do it, then you're going to have to pay him. So you draft somebody, and then I don't know if you let it go, but it's a good problem to have. I don't think you can get enough, but he's somewhat right. Is he going to be able to get on the field and make an impact? Talk about what Bigger just talked about, and then we'll go to Turnbuckle Talk. I promise.
I mean, I agree, but again, it goes back to what I say, Peter. Super Bowl window is closing.
Yes.
So we don't really have, like, again, you know, I loved Campbell. I really did. But unfortunately, we need players on the field week 1. Now, unless Jihad falls into the second round and he's there for the Buccaneers in the second round, which could be a possibility, but highly unlikely. If he does, then I'd say Buck fans go get a scratch ticket. But you know, we need guys to play now, and that's why I say you got to go safety or corner or somebody who can do both, and you got to be smart. I'm going to preach this. This is the most important offseason, and this is by far probably one of the most important drafts for Todd Bowles and Jason Light. It is, because this is going to determine where we're going to go as a team.
It's a good point. And we say it every year, but it really is important because that Super Bowl window is open, and you know how long it's going to be open. All right, this Turnbuckle Talk window is open, so let's get out to El Ralpho Americano. Are you there, my friend? Is he there? Hello, Ralpho.
Is he pulling a Malachi Black appearance on us?
Malachi Black. Well, is he there?
I don't know.
I don't know if he's there or not. Let's see. Well, he's not there. He's in the dark room.
In the dark room.
So there you go. I guess he's gone. I don't know. Maybe he'll come back. I don't know. Let me see what's going on here. First and foremost, let's start out with this. Let's go ahead and play this really quick. This is from Ariel Helwani. We've interviewed him before on this show about CM Punk, about Jake Paul, but this was his take after WrestleMania Night 2's main event with John Cena winning. Now listen to this. This makes lots of sense, and this is the reason why a lot of wrestling fans out there are very frustrated. Here we go.
That's my biggest gripe when it comes to pro wrestling. When people are playing pro wrestler, when it feels like they are playing a character, it bothers me. Why is it working for Logan Paul? It's working for Logan Paul right now because it feels like he is just a dick. Why did it work for Hollywood Hogan? Because it felt like he was truly a dick. We don't believe that John Cena is a dick. We don't believe that John Cena is a bad guy. We don't believe that he wants to be, all ho hum and not answer questions and do the thing at the press conference saying it's clickbait. He doesn't act, feel, look like a bad guy. And so for me, it feels inauthentic. It feels forced. It doesn't feel special. And when you don't explain 2 months later the partnership, the union with The Rock, when you don't explain really 2 months later the partnership and the union with Travis Scott, it feels flat. This should have been the crescendo of a year-long story that really started on the Monday after WrestleMania 40 last week with The Rock and Cody Rhodes, and it could have ended in a beautiful way yesterday, a year later, with The Rock showing up and Cody getting his revenge, or whatever it is, or even The Rock getting his revenge, whatever it is. The Rock doesn't even show up. This whole thing had to do with The Rock, dating back to last year in Philadelphia. And then, of course, in Toronto, and then he doesn't show up. And why I still don't understand why Travis Scott is there. Still don't understand. Now, again, this is fun. This is entertainment. And I know he's doing the thing now. I'm going to ruin pro wrestling. I'm going to take the belt. And I get it. And I bet if someone was on the creative team listening to this to be like, just wait and see how it's all playing out. Well, I'm judging it right now, Monday, April 21st at 1:13 p.m. Eastern. Right now, it feels flat. Right now, there's too many holes in it. Right now, there was a thread and someone took a scissor and cut it. There is no continuity anymore. There is no connection. What is the connection between Cena and Travis Scott? If you're telling us wait and see, well, what better time than WrestleMania to explain that connection? And we're supposed to believe that Travis Scott is going to be some kind of threat to Cody Rhodes? Come on now.
Boom. That to me right there explains the reason why I'm so frustrated with this whole storyline. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, because I know you want to talk about this, The Rock was on Pat McAfee after Thanks a lot for showing up, by the way, for WrestleMania. We appreciate it. And now we know the reason. He says, I got a call about a month ago before Elimination Chamber. I got a call from Ariel Emanuel, who owns TKO. He said, we need help at the Elimination Chamber. Ticket sales are a little low. But beyond that, we are finding it's become the pay-per-view that is interesting. Fans have had fun. It's also, before WrestleMania, how do we create an Elimination Chamber that people must tune in to see? How do we create that? Right now, we don't have that. Will the final boss show up? I said, let me give it some thought, and I'll get back to you. That's when he came with the idea to ask Rhodes to sell a show to the final boss, which Johnson believed paved the way for not only Cena's turn, but somewhere down the road, Cody as well. He says, I gave it some thought, and I got back to Ari, Triple H, Nick Khan, and we had a call, and I said, I have an idea. The most important thing to the final boss isn't money, titles, fame. Been there, done that, grateful for that. The final boss wants your soul. What does that mean? That doesn't mean the final boss wants you to act like this or be that or beckoning call or treat you like crap or make you do all these things that are unbecoming or embarrassing. That's not how the final boss flies. What that means is whatever dreams Cody Rhodes has, whatever ambitions, even if they're dark, amazing, full of light, scary, whatever they are, you tell the final boss and he makes it all happen. When it comes to giving the final boss your soul, that is what you want, not what the final boss wants. What does the final boss get out of that? Your soul for life. So now we go into Elimination Chamber with this idea of, will Cody Rhodes sell his soul to the final boss? And my thought at the time was it was a litmus test to find out how fans would respond if Cody sold his soul. So he says, I was an advocate of that. He said, establish it, anchor it. You come to find out there was a lot of fans saying, sell your soul. I was an advocate of that, not turning heel soon, but eventually down the line. I like the idea of that because Cody is a smart, intelligent guy, a ring general, and this idea that you give him a reason to turn way down the road. I think Ralph is on with us. Ralph, are you there? I don't know what Ralph's going. Ralph is in the dark room, so I don't know what's going on there. Fans were loving it. As we get closer to Elimination Chamber, we were kicking ideas around, myself and Triple H, Nick, my team. Triple H said, what about John turning? And I said, I love it. So he said, the next question is talking to John, see how he feels about it. John loved the idea of turning heel, but he said there is an anchor that he was going to root it in, which was a real thing he experienced over the past 25 years. After that, Johnson believed his work was to be done. He said, when we were moving forward with John and this idea that we would crown him at 17 and being a Hill champion, I knew the best thing for the final boss, we have established the idea of Cody's soul. We can always come back to it. I did feel, and I made the call, I don't want to be involved in that. Let the final boss step back into the shadows. Let all the spotlight go to John and Cody. Let's not make it about Cody's soul or John's soul. Let's let them do what they do. I called John after Elimination Chamber, called Cody and said, I think the final boss work is done. We've established it. We just pulled off the greatest angle in the history of professional wrestling, other than Hulk Hogan turning heel. We had 6 weeks. Now let's build. You guys go and crush it. I'll be right there with you. I'm always here if you need me, but I think it's best for the final boss to not be involved in that finish. Ooh. My problem with this is the whole thing. The whole storyline was based on The Rock, the final boss, the soul, Travis Scott, changing wrestling, and then all of a sudden, there is no mention of The Rock. It's like it never happened. And I get it, you established the storyline, but what was the storyline? It was never established. It was never explained. Why does The Rock want Cody to sell his soul? Why did John sell his soul to The Rock? None of this was ever explained. So it's like what Ariel said, it makes no sense. It's flat to me. It makes no sense.
I think, did John Cena really sell his soul to The Rock? Because he never said he did. The Rock asked Cody to sell his soul.
Right.
So I think what they're doing here is very much, they're going to extend this story out all the way until Cena's last date. I think you got to listen really closely to what these guys are saying. And first and foremost, The Rock going off and saying all that stuff, I think he shouldn't even say none of that.
Agree.
That was
and
stupid.
This has been the major problem. And let me see if I can get Ralph back on. Ralph, are you there, buddy? I don't know what's going on with Ralph tonight. We got no sound. And so this is the problem for me. The problem is that you put out this storyline. You have no explanation to it. Travis Scott is involved for what reason we'll never know, because he wants to get involved in wrestling. I think
there's more with Travis Scott, Pete.
Well,
I really do.
I think I'm pretty much
more
done with Travis Scott at this point. I'm pretty much done with that song Fiend, because I've had to hear that again.
I'm still hearing that in my head.
Well, I
we
think
actually, yeah, it was terrible.
He says they had 6 weeks to plan for it. I love the finish of the match. I would have finessed things a little differently in how they got there, but just me created. Ultimately, the bottom line is I love getting John 17. I never had a concern about John pulling this off. My thoughts were always Cody and what was established with him and his story, the kind of babyface that he is. It's done right, finessed right, nuanced right down the road. The guy not only has an incredible run, again, as a babyface champion, but also as an unheard of run as a heel down the road. The problem is it fails in comparison. It's always going to probably fail in comparison to WrestleMania 40. It's like, interviewing Titus O'Neil last year. One of the greatest storylines of all time, the bloodline and how it worked. And this, I think, could have been the same thing if they would have worked this right. And they dropped the ball.
Peter,
and
remember where we were the first time Reigns and Cody went up against each other at WrestleMania and Cody lost.
Yes.
It's kind of the same thing, right?
Yes.
So to me, I appreciate what they're doing right now. It's very much long-term storytelling. They don't want to give you everything because let's face facts, and I've said this before. WrestleMania is not the only big event WWE does anymore. Before, it's the granddaddy of them all. Remember the showcase of the Immortals? No, it's not. Not anymore. WrestleMania is just the end, is the Super Bowl. It's the end. Now we're in a new season. You still have the Royal Rumble. You still have SummerSlam. You have, what's the other one? Survivor Series that are premium events there. SummerSlam itself is like a WrestleMania, the way they do that. The Royal Rumble is portrayed as a WrestleMania. And I think there's another one there. But I think this story is going to continue on until December. And honestly, I don't want to see Cody for a little bit after this. I think that I get to what people are saying, like they just want to know now, but I think that's a problem in this day and age. I think we just need to relax, calm down, and let this all play out. Because I think in the end, look at last year's WrestleMania with Cody finishing the story. How awesome was that?
Awesome.
It was almost nearly a 2-year build, and I would say hands down was one of the best WrestleManias. I think the reason why people are getting so on this is because it was a little bit, and I will say this, night one was a little lackluster, in my opinion. Night two really made up for it. Unfortunately, a lot of people didn't like the end of this WrestleMania match, and I get that. But I promise everybody, just be patient. There's a lot more coming to this story than what meets the eye. I think, you have to pay attention to what John Cena is saying. Ariel Helwani was like, "Oh, I don't buy this. I don't buy this." I buy it. You want to know why I buy it? Because I think John Cena is a dick in real life. I really do. I don't think he says, "Oh, I don't want kids and this and that." Look how he was on that show with Nikki Bella. He was a douche to her. He was she tried to cook for him. He's a douche. What you're seeing, I think, what you're seeing right now is truly who he is, and that's okay. I get it. There's a lot of people who don't want to talk to you at 2:00 in the morning at an airport. After shooting a movie or whatever, and he fits the persona of a douche. And I think a lot of the stuff he's saying, those promos to me were classic with him and Cody. The whole when Cody was like, "Hey, at least they never chanted to me that I can't wrestle." The buildup. I think we're seeing a little bit of what this truly is going to be. And again, I think what you're seeing with John Cena, on the Pat McAfee show, all the stuff he was saying, I buy it. And you know what? I think when he says, "I'm going to ruin wrestling," you want to know how he's ruining wrestling right now, because we're talking about it, how lackluster it was. He hasn't changed anything. The only thing that's changed, which I did like, was when he came out on that stage, it was just black and white. And I like that. It was, you don't get the video package. You don't get none of that stuff. And he came out, he did his thing. Travis Scott there kind of interfered. It could have been anybody else,
bro. It's gonna go down as Travis Scott coming out to help John Cena win his 17th. Anybody else? Like, come on, man.
That's why he said,
listen, if you really wanted to do this, let me go ahead and book this right now. How will you book this? Right? Because we had a storyline. How would you book this? You know how you book this? How you book this? Ric Flair, right? The dirtiest player in the game. He's got everything to lose, but he comes out and he helps John Cena. It looks like he's going to be on Cody's side to protect his title. He comes out, interferes, and helps John Cena win it. That's how you book it. I don't want
the guy to have a heart attack on walking down the stage. You know what I'm saying? But again, this is what a lot of people don't understand. Ric Flair, he can't beat Ric Flair's record. Ric Flair, the dirtiest player in the game. That's how he got to 16 championships. Right. Again, this was such an asinine thing to do. That's why, to me, this is going to work, because it's Travis Scott, who's hated by a lot of people, including myself. Not just I don't care that he raps. It's that concert and that situation. He should have stopped performing. People got hurt, you know, and he's now John Cena. He was hustle, loyalty, respect. But then again, if you think about everything that John Cena said, and after WrestleMania, you people, he's right. You people are bastards. You cheer Cody Rhodes, and now you're booing Cody Rhodes. To cheer him, to boo him. And then he said the same thing for 20 years. You've booed me, and now it's an abusive relationship. And he's kind of right, and he's not lying. I'm telling you, I want everybody out there, all you webheads out there, go back. Let's start everything from the beginning. Watch all the promos. Pay attention to everything he's saying. I'm telling you, you're going to start to see this is starting to make sense. When he says, I'm ruining professional wrestling, it's because he's going to keep the WWE Universal Championship hostage.
All right, let's go out to Sun Devil Dave. Sun Devil Dave here. Dave calling in using a second call here on Turnbuckle Talk. What's on your mind, boss?
Hey, I think what Louis is saying, it really hits the point. And I hear a lot of criticisms from, let's say, Bischoff and other individuals who are saying how WrestleMania Night 2, the main event, was lackluster. But Louis hit it right on the head, because basically Cena wanted to be kind of emotionless, lackluster, dark. Look, I'm not going to give you the pomp and circumstance. I'm not going to give you, like you said, the video package and all the glitter. This is me just coming out, doing my business. The eye poke, what do they call that? Pump handle slam. I mean, it was classic heel moves. And a lot of people say it was underwhelming, but he did that deliberately, and I loved.
But Dave, this is old school professional heel wrestling at its finest.
Awesome. But you again, and I'm going to go back to Travis Scott here and his involvement. Right. This is what The Rock had to say. Right. Stand by. This is what The Rock said. I love Travis Scott involved. I'll tell you why. Because he loves wrestling. He's a huge fan. He respects it. He's working his ass off. I know he has plans to train with Booker T. Hopefully he does. I don't know if it's happening already. It might be. I don't think it is. He's not doing any spin-a-roonies anytime soon. He loves the business now. I was just surprised to see Travis Scott as well. I knew the moment I saw Travis, that immediately amplifies, here comes the final boss. Some parts of it, I would have just adjusted a little bit more. I would have finessed a little bit more. And again, I think I'm spoiled from last year's main event with all the run-ins, with all the storyline telling, with the long-term story. And I thought, well, Stone Cold's going to come out, and he's going to be the guy that's going to take on. And I guess Ralph is here. What is Ralph wearing? Is Ralph the El Ralpho Americano here? Hold on a second. Jesus Christ. What are you wearing, bro? What is that?
That's not the real Ralph.
Is that Ralph? Ralph, I can't hear.
No sound.
Ralph is a luchador at this point. So we can't hear what he's saying. And I don't know.
No sound.
Got no sound, bro.
He's shaking his head.
Is that Roger?
No, it's Ralph. All right, Ralph, get your sound together. I can't deal with this anymore. He goes
that was classic.
He looks like a terrorist for some reason.
He's looking like he like down
the road where I live.
Yeah, he looks like he's got a ransom note for somebody, and
he's gone. There he goes. Yeah. All right, go ahead,
that was
son.
Classic. That's gonna be on Botchamania pretty soon.
wanted to touch on how Bailey was impacted. I know that Bailey was taken out of the tag team match with I think Lyra, and then Becky Lynch was placed. And then she helps her win. The next night she turns heel. They say it's going to be a big build-up. Probably Bailey's going to come back, fight Becky, or they're going to have a little whatever triple threat. Who knows? But I just feel that the way they handled it, I just felt that Bailey was disrespected, taken out for a script storyline when she was all set to do, be in WrestleMania. I think she deserves it. So do you agree with that? What do you think, Louis and Peter? How do you think the Bailey situation?
Ralph, are you there, buddy? Do you have sound?
Ralph.
No sound.
No, we got no sound.
There he is. It's like one of the muggers down Sulphur
It's
Springs.
like the funniest segment of all time. We got no sound from Ralph. I apologize.
In a Scully.
Yes, we do. Yeah, I don't know where to go from there. I mean, listen, I just think, again, I think it goes back to what I thought there were so many things that you could have done with this creatively. There is talk that the reason why The Rock didn't show up is because supposedly, according to Vince Russo and the coach, that he's working for Vince McMahon behind the scenes, and that there is some political jousting, if you will, behind the scenes between him and Triple H, and basically Triple H. And I don't know, man. I mean, I guess I believe anything that's in wrestling right now, if it's going on. I believe anything is possible, especially
he was wearing a New Japan shirt too,
right,
not too long ago.
Right, but he didn't promote the event. He never promoted it. He wasn't, he didn't show up. I don't understand how you put this storyline on. You're one of the biggest stars in the business. You're on the board of directors, and you don't even show up. Like,
the biggest,
it's not
the biggest. Real quick, do you think that his influence on TKO could basically?
I think it's good. I think
fire Triple H. I think
there's been talk about that. There's been talk about him working for Vince, and this floundering so bad, and letting them try to do it creatively and have Triple H run one show and Road Dogg run SmackDown, and it's going to blow up in their face, and eventually they're going to fire Triple H. And what Vince Russo was saying, and because they had the Hall of Fame, he was Triple H is putting himself over in the Hall of Fame. He should have put himself over, but what Vince said is, the boys hated that. The boys in the back, they hated the fact that he was putting himself over so much.
Well, who was so who said that? Vince Russo said that?
Yeah, Vince Russo. Yeah.
I mean, where is he getting this information from?
Well, he's getting information from being a part of the business. He said Bret Hart and Stone Cold, and also seeing Booker T fall asleep during the Hall of Fame as it was so long, and Triple H had like an hour and 30 or hour and 45-minute speech that there was a problem with that the boys don't like that. They don't like that in the locker room. They look down on it, and all this is involved with getting rid of Triple H and having Rock in power, and that's the reason why he didn't show up in the first place. He wanted it to blow up.
My whole thing is, if you're gonna have The Rock in power, I think that's gonna collapse in their face, in my opinion. I mean, The Rock. I mean, it's not gonna sound popular.
If he's not gonna show up, then don't show up.
Yeah, just don't even bother. I know even bother. I hear Vince McMahon is trying to start something else.
Yeah,
get off the board of TKO and just go with him.
Right. He's getting $40 million, and he can't show up to WrestleMania, and you got all this storyline and all this explanation, and for me, it's been confusing from the very get-go with going on Netflix and being Dwayne Johnson, and then you're the finalist again. Right. Like, you got to pick a character, and he's like, well, and he's being called out. Well, I'm not going to be involved with it. Oh, well, that's BS. No, it's not. You weren't involved with WrestleMania. You were never involved with WrestleMania. You denied it. And you were.
Those comments he made on the Pat McAfee show when you were reading them out, I didn't like that. It's very disrespectful. One, number two, you're kind of giving away. Like, I know they're coming out with this show Beyond the Curtain or whatever it is. Whatever. I mean, I probably won't watch it because it's not really my thing. But if it's me, if I'm Triple H, I would really try to get control of a lot of this stuff and I would see, like, The Rock's honestly, this is not going to sound popular, but I don't want that. I've never been a fan of The Rock. I think some of the things he's done were very good, but when he left, I really didn't care. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And I honestly, and again, if all you webheads out there, if you want to call in and disagree with me, be my guest. But honestly, I don't care if Triple H put himself over at the Hall of Fame, and I get it. It was a little long, but you know what? I mean, a lot of these people, sometimes you got to take a step back and look at the people that are criticizing you. You know what I'm saying? You
I
know, you
agree.
got Bret Hart. I like Bret Hart, but Bret Hart's never been a fan of Triple H. Stone Cold,
Nope.
I don't know what their relationship is. And again, with Vince Russo, how much stuff can you really believe of what he's saying? Because I mean, a lot of the stuff that he was doing, I mean, Jim Cornette calls him out all the time. It's comical. It's amazing. But
Yeah.
as far as Triple H goes, I think he has the respect of everybody in that locker room. And it doesn't really matter what the older guys think right now because they're not the ones that are wrestling in the ring. Stone Cold's not wrestling. He had a hard enough time controlling that four-wheeler at WrestleMania. He banged into the guardrail, couldn't find the ramp. You know, Bret Hart can't wrestle.
Did it twice.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Bret Hart can't wrestle. You know what you have? You have Braun Breaker. You have everybody that you taught from NXT. You have, you know, new, familiar faces coming in. Rusev. You have Malachi Black coming back. Like I think those guys. I think he cares about the opinions of them because they're the ones that are out there and they're the ones that are doing it. And a guy like The Rock, I mean, honestly, I can't say what I really want to say.
It's
I'm not going to say nothing.
All right. All right.
Real
Sun
quick,
Devil
I thought
Dave.
they did a good job. You know, other than the letdown, I thought a WrestleMania main event. The night after show was great. Like I said, bringing back Rusev, Orton. You know, basically giving RKO to Cena.
Beautiful.
Orton's going to get squashed. I'm telling you right now. That's going to be a part of the storyline.
A lot of great things.
I
really wish they would have done more of this. You know, that they had a lot of energy and passion in the Raw to WrestleMania. The WrestleMania just seemed like it was a normal pay-per-view. It just seemed kind of like
yes and no. I mean, to me,
Sun Devil Dave, thanks for the call, man. Great job.
To answer his question too, with the Becky Lynch situation, I thought she wasn't coming back at all. But I kind of like Becky as a heel. I don't really like her as a face because it's very like it's too much. Like I like the heel. I like there's some men and women in the industry that some of them belong being a heel full time and some of them don't. Like MJF is one guy that I don't he's cringy when he's a face. I like him better when he's a heel because that's when you get the true aspect of the unfiltered stuff. Same thing with like Becky Lynch. I like the cheating tactics. I like how she gets cocky. I like that aspect of it. So what she did to Valkyrie turning on her, I like that because I guarantee you they're not gonna build up Becky. They're gonna build up what's her face. So I know where they're going with that, and I like that. And I think it was pretty good with the whole women's tag team championship titles. Do away with that. Leave that in NXT or something, and they're meaningless in my opinion.
They are meaningless, and you know, I thought the matches to the first night weren't as good. Again, the main event we talked about a three-way there.
How did you feel about Charlotte and Tiffany?
A lot of botches. I think it's the right thing.
A lot of bruises.
A lot of bruises, a lot of botches. Tiffany deserved the title. I don't know how long they keep the title on her, but there were a lot of botches in that match. Not necessarily the best wrestled match, although it goes back to what Ric Flair said about Charlotte. Both of those parties put on a good match, but I don't think it was necessarily the best. Let's see.
I gotta ask. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, well, let's see if we can get Ralph back on here. Ralph, are you there? Ralph's not there. So I
gotta ask you about the Jey Uso, and I want to get your opinion on this.
Okay.
How did you feel about that match?
I liked it. I just don't like the fact that Gunther, you build him up and then you do a sleeper hold and he just taps out just like that. Like there was no struggle. There was nothing to it. That's the problem. Like there was nothing special about it, and it should have been special. That was a special moment for Jay, and it was flat. I couldn't, and it seemed like the pace of the match was too fast. All the matches that first night were just too fast. Was it me, or did you think the same thing? Because I thought first night was too fast. No pace to it.
I would have liked to see Gunther really break down Jay.
Yeah.
Obviously Jay gets some stuff in, but I feel like the title was kind of meaningless in that aspect.
Yeah.
And see, this is the stuff now, everybody out there listening. This is the type of matches that make titles lose their value.
Yep.
And this match was a prime example of this title, the heavyweight championship, losing its value because you had Jey Uso basically tap out one of your top guys. That should have never happened. I disagree with the booking here. If it's me, I'm going to have Jey Uso go over, but I'm going to have him get the you-know-what kicked out of him first. His chest is going to have to, like, I'm telling Jey in the back, hey, he's going to have to chop you, dude. Like,
Yeah.
this is how it's going to be because he's our guy. But you're going to go over, you're going to put him in a submission. He's not going to tap out. He's just going to go to sleep.
Yeah.
And that's where they went wrong. They should have just had him go to sleep.
All right. I agree. Christopher Cole, Cena was slow. He was. Christopher Cole again. Money in the Bank is after SummerSlam. This is what also The Rock had to say about Paul Heyman, Seth Rollins. He says that is a maturation process that happens when you come into the world of WWE. If you got a little bit of heat to you in a good way, good heat, if you got a little potential to you, the company will see that. They'll start putting you in positions where you see how not only how you react to those positions, but more importantly, how the fans react to it, talking about Rollins and, of course, Paul Heyman. He also said about Braun Breaker. He has risen to the occasion during all the opportunities, also praised the former Intercontinental Champion's ability and look. He comes from a hell of a bloodline, the Steiner family. So I was happy to see that last night, the first night's main event, the first of that main event. I loved it. I loved every second of it. The veteran added noting how he was watching the show at home despite knowing how all the matches were going to finish. Well, it's nice for you to watch. Thanks a lot for not showing up. He said, I loved how it all went down. I loved how I loved it. Ultimately, it came down to Seth and Paul, what they're going to look, how they're going to look. And now we'll see how it all unfolds. We have the rest of the spring. We have the rest of the summer. I loved every moment of that. He said, when I told Cody a month and a half ago, or maybe longer, hey, I don't want your title, I want your soul. And then Seth followed it up. I think the following week saying, I don't want your soul, I want that title. And as simple as he made it, it still made it powerful. And then here we are. So I love what those guys did last night. So there you go. And he says, it's clear that Reigns and CM Punk will likely have a shaky alliance as they take on the latest Paul Heyman guys. That was a shocker. That was definitely a shocker there with Braun Breaker. Although
I kind of figured, though.
Oh, listen now, you mentioned this about bringing back the NWO, and one of the first guys I said was Braun Breaker because he's got that look and he can talk. Yep. And even though he is his daddy's son, being Rick Steiner, the dog-faced gremlin, which could wrestle, that guy is Scott Steiner, and you can push him to the
nature.
You can push him to the moon if you do it right. And he is a badass, and they've done the great thing of booking him, Shawn Michaels and Triple H. And if you're going to start an alliance or a new alliance with Paul Heyman or whatever they're calling it, I don't know what they're calling it yet. But if you're going to do that, that's the guy you do it with. That was my whole emphasis on when you said bring back the NWO. I don't think you ever bring back the NWO, but they will bring back some type of version or some type of stable.
I actually heard some talk about that. They were thinking about doing something like that, but it has to be perfect. Again, we talked about this. If you're going to do this, only one guy can really initiate bringing back the NWO, and that's Eric Bischoff. You do not do the NWO. Do not do the NWO. I repeat, unless Eric Bischoff is involved. WWE went wrong with the NWO because it was poorly put together. The new leader of the NWO should have been Vince McMahon. Right? And Vince McMahon
was kind of the leader when he said he brought in the poison, but then it was against Ric Flair. So but the problem is you didn't have Bischoff, you didn't have a mouthpiece, it was only 3 players. It was older guys.
But imagine them surrounded by Vince McMahon, like them in the same locker room. Like I think that it would have, for me, it would have worked. But that's why I said now in this day and age, obviously Vince is not there. That's Eric Bischoff's thing. So if you're gonna do that, you have to have, like right now what they're doing with Rollins and Braun Breaker. In all reality, Peter, let me ask you this question:
Sure.
Do you think that this would have had the same nostalgia without Paul Heyman?
No, of course it wouldn't have the same nostalgia. I mean,
Exactly.
Paul Heyman brings that nostalgia. Paul Heyman is
Exactly.
he's definitely a Hall of Famer, or should be in a Hall of Famer. He's one of the great minds of the wrestling business. I was told this 25 years ago from somebody when they were in ECW. He's a great mind that's been overlooked. He was a great mind in WCW with the Dangerous Alliance. Remember, he had Stone Cold Steve Austin, and I'm trying to think of the other guys that were with him at that time, the Dangerous Alliance. You have to look that up, but he's always had those groups, and he managed Undertaker.
Yeah.
Being Mark Madsen.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I said, like, you can't do these things without certain individuals being there. That's why I said, like, right now you have Seth Rollins, who I think did I say he was going over? Did I say that? I'd have to go back to the episode. I think
I'll
I
have to go back to the episode. Yeah, I think you may have called it.
Yeah. So I kind of figured Braun Breaker, because I knew, like, he outshines the IC title by miles. And I think what they did, I called Dominic Mysterio too. I said Dominic Mysterio was going over on that, and I like that. I do like that because it's time to start catapulting him into a different level, because he has so much heat. Now I don't know if everybody's cheering for him, but back to the Braun Breaker and Rollins thing.
Yeah,
that was. I know a lot of people are upset that Dominic Mysterio won that match. I wasn't. I was like, I said it's got to. If it goes on Finn, perfect. If it goes on Penta, even better. If it goes on Dominic, sweet. If because Braun Breaker doesn't need the IC title, so right now him being with Seth Rollins is, and just having that mouthpiece. Like, remember when Seth and when he first started becoming the visionary, he had Buddy Matthews at the time. It didn't really work because there wasn't a mouthpiece there. Now that Rollins has a mouthpiece and he has Braun Breaker, I don't know. There could be a third member, maybe third or fourth member. Who knows?
Maybe a third or fourth member may be coming. We may not know it yet. We'll see. But I do like the Seth storyline, because you go back to last year, how he sacrificed himself being a Shield member, and how he shielded for Cody, and he's a visionary, and how he lost the title and did everything. Now he's getting his comeuppance, if you will, and getting it rewarded back to him with this storyline, and having Paul Heyman as his and I think he needs a change of character. It's
getting stale. And you have to constantly evolve, especially right now, because it's so hot, and fans, including us, we're gonna get on top of you for that. I'm very crucial of Bianca Belair. That character needs to change. It's just not working. It's you heard it at WrestleMania. They were booing her right out of the building.
Yes,
we'll get to that in a little bit. But I mean, it's time. It's time, and then he definitely needed it. It's now it's just like, all right, here we go, new season, here we go, new Seth Rollins. All right, let's see what he's got.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what he has, and let's go to Ralph, because he's trying to get on, but he couldn't. I said Becky was turning heel. I called Seth with a "Hey man, Gunther should have been fired before he did a Raw to Pat McAfee." Of course, he took on McAfee, so now everybody thinks he's going to take on McAfee, trying to kill Michael Cole there, which made lots of sense. But McAfee in a match, and somebody put this out there. You set up McAfee with the match, and McAfee maybe can't beat him, and eventually you have Goldberg that ends up being that next match versus Gunther, which is what everybody wants to see. And listen, it's gonna happen. Goldberg is owed a favor. He keeps on saying he was owed a favor, and I know he was.
But he wants to go over, though, right? He wants to win.
Wants to just have a retirement match with Gunther.
All right.
We would think he probably wants to go over, yes, because Goldberg always wants to go over.
If you're gonna let Goldberg go over, you might as well just kiss all the nostalgia that behind Gunther goodbye, because that's not like, I liked Gunther when he was Walter. All right. When he was a little bit heavier and he would chop the hell out of you. To all the webheads, go back and go watch those older NXT pay-per-views. Like, they were, I'm telling you, it's tough, because you'll stop watching one and then you'll get into the next one. Like, some of those old Sasha Banks and Bailey matches, classics.
Yes.
What's Sasha Banks doing right now? I can't tell you. I don't know.
But Mercedes Moné. All these belts for AEW. Yeah, I know you love talking about that. All right. Wow. Well, let's go out to this guy right here.
Mr. Kennedy!
Best of the Bay, Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy on a over 3-hour Sports Web edition here, 1 day away, actually probably less than a day away from the NFL draft. What's on your mind, boss? How you doing?
It is. I wanted to, I've been watching the show tonight. Been great job, you guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
But I got to tell you, I just really hope at the end of the day, I hope that everybody realizes just what they have here. And I'm going to go ahead. I never do this. I'm not like this. I usually don't like to try to self-promote. We don't do that because it's the evolution. It's about, sports fans of all of Tampa Bay. But I hope they realize here on a Wednesday night, tonight before the draft, they realize why you're still on Peter Blake at 11:30 on a Wednesday night, why you're still covering the Bucks, the Lightning, the Rays, the Rowdies, whatever it takes, why the evolution makes us make decisions that sometimes don't make any sense.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, it means we're talking sports in Tampa Bay, and that's what it's all about. I can't believe you're still on. I'm calling you to tell you that you got to get off. It's time to go to bed, my man.
I know. Listen, I'm going to throw it out there because I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to do it because I got 2 super chats tonight to do 8 o'clock tomorrow for the NFL draft. I'm going to throw it out there on Facebook. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do it, but we're going to see the response. If the response is where I want it to be, I think we're going to go 8 o'clock tomorrow for the NFL draft. So if you're ready to jump on, you let me know. Okay.
Because that's what it's all about. And I want to go ahead and just finish with this. We're not being paid yet the big bucks that we're going to make when they respect the fact and they understand the reason why we're doing this and what we mean to Tampa Bay sports. But, brother, you guys knocked it out of the ballpark tonight. Ira Kaufman, you had J.C. Allen from Sports Illustrated. You guys are in there rocking it. I appreciate you. Thank you. But I wanted to call and say, go to bed, guys, because we do love you.
Yes.
And I love what we're doing. But at the end of the day, get some sleep because we can't burn out because there's no one else doing it in Tampa Bay like we are here on the Sports Web and the evolution of sports, brothers. I love you guys.
I love you, brother.
Appreciate it.
Good stuff there. Love that from that guy because he's absolutely correct. All right, we'll wrap this up here with some things.
What was your favorite match?
Favorite match was definitely in the main event of the first night. It's just
Really?
so well done. First night main event, the 3-way. It's well done. I love the CM Punk pack, and people don't understand like when you're doing these wrestling packages. It's like 2 or 3 minutes, right? But it takes so long. It's so detailed, and how they have the music and have him saying it from yesteryear when he first started. I'm addicted to wrestling, and then having the music and having the music of Machine Head
the
and
best package.
setting it all up. It's just so beautifully done, and it could have been done in the same manner as Cody Rhodes and John Cena, and they dropped the ball. Well done by WWE. Well done by their music department and editing and everything else, because I just appreciate it. I appreciate all the intricacies, if you will, all the details. And I wanted CM Punk to win it, but I just kind of knew he wasn't going to win it. It's going to be Seth Rollins, but just well done. Great main event with Roman Reigns. It's great storytelling. It's great long-term booking because it's going to continue to go on here the next couple months, and it's going to be good. I can't wait to see what happens. What was your favorite match?
My favorite match was night 2, Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair. That match tore the house down. Honestly, there could have been a main event, in my opinion. It should have been the main event of night 2, but obviously we know why it wasn't. But honestly, that match, every spot right on, like, because the women's kind of had a little shaky. And honestly, that match right there, even the wife was watching it. She'll like go on the phone, and I was driving, and I rewatched it. But even she was like glued to it. She really enjoyed that match. She thought that was probably one of the best matches. Like Io Sky, good for her, man. Like they again, I don't think there's any female out there that's working harder than her.
Yeah, I agree. And then to have Stephanie, Vaquer come out.
Oh yeah, I can't say her last name.
I can't say her name either.
Valkyrie. No,
Valkyrie.
Ven something. I don't know. I know she's got those.
Oh, I love it.
Those
I love
horns.
her look. I like it.
Again, yeah. The next night, her and Io Sky tore Monday Night Raw down, and obviously we saw what happened.
Yes,
I'm telling you, man, I really enjoy watching Io Sky. She's actually probably right now, she's actually one of my favorites, man. I really enjoy watching her. Very athletic. The things that she does. I mean, she could have a match with a mop and make it look entertaining. She's awesome. And what she did at WrestleMania, and no disrespect to Rhea and Bianca, but that finish was amazing.
Yeah, agree. All right. PWN claims Joe Henry was handpicked by Randy Orton to be his opponent at WrestleMania 41 because Orton is a fan of his work. Yeah, that was a good match. I mean, not a great match, but it was good to see, a TNA champion come out there, get his moment. I don't think he got squashed.
No,
the crowd just
loved anything that made TNA look so good. That is the business for TNA is gonna boom. Are you kidding me? TNA was smiling from ear to ear when that happened. Because not only that, again, and not to go off what we're talking about, I love the fact that WWE is working with TNA. This is very, very good because now, we've seen this happen. WWE's become bloated with talent. Now you have now you have AEW that's bloated with talent, and look at where they're at. They can't figure out their ass from their elbow. But now you have WWE with NXT. Not only are you building stars in NXT, now you have this business relationship with TNA. And TNA is benefiting from WWE. They're making a little bit more money. And again, in my opinion, this is awesome. And we predicted, I said, Aleister Black, you can go a couple of different ways with this. You can have Aleister Black come out. You could have Rusev come out. I didn't expect Henry. I really didn't. And just to see him, his WrestleMania moment is when his music hit and everybody popped for him. And again, going back to what I just said, Peter, TNA had a smile from ear to ear. It was that's what's best for business.
That's it. That's what it comes down to. So good for him. It's a good match. It wasn't the best match, but it definitely did everything it was supposed to do. A vehicle to promote Henry, because I definitely think he'll come up to the main roster here eventually. Other news here, and then I'll wrap this up. Tama Tonga is injured, says bodyslam.net. Could require surgery. LA Knight's attack on SmackDown last week, they claim may have been a television write-off. They also, it's likely changes are coming to the WWE Hall of Fame ceremony for next year, whether that's cutting off some time or changing it, which it held so it doesn't run so long into the night. Yeah, that thing didn't start, and I thought it started like right after, I was like, how are you going to do SmackDown for 3 hours and then go?
Yeah,
they didn't start it until midnight, and you could see people like falling asleep. They didn't get done until 4 o'clock.
Well, the problem is it's Vegas time, so Vegas is 5 hours behind us or 4, something like that. That's why I'm not big on those WrestleManias out there. I'm not. I don't like those WrestleManias out there, and the mystique, the aura. Remember when they had it at Levi Stadium and The Undertaker came out and it was still daylight? I didn't like it.
It was weird. It was so weird. That was what was that with Bray Wyatt, I believe?
Yeah, it just didn't look the same. And then Wyatt came out with the Scarecrows. The Scarecrows were a really cool idea, but it just didn't work because it was weird. It wasn't dark. If you're gonna do stuff like that on the West Coast, save like SummerSlam. And like those type of events, don't waste a WrestleMania out west. And that's not a shot at anybody in on the West Coast. It's just even you can agree, it's just not the same. We get this type of stuff. Real quickly before we wrap up, I gotta ask you, Logan Paul, AJ Styles, how did you feel about that match?
I like it. I don't know. I mean, I really honestly I can't remember it, to tell you the truth. So maybe it wasn't that great of a match.
I thought it was okay. It was okay. So this is my theory with Logan Paul. I like that Karrion Kross came out. I think again, going back to the whole John Cena thing and what we're starting to see here, We're gonna start to see WWE become more realism. Like if anybody out there, go watch Karrion Kross. On I forgot what podcast he was on, but he was on a podcast and he was cussing Triple H up and down like this man with this effing suit. It was obviously work, but I see what they're trying to do there. And then you've seen like Karrion Kross kind of get involved. I think they're gonna finally let him go back to that killer. What was it? Killer Croc or whatever the hell he was.
Cross, yes.
Killer Cross. I think they're gonna let him go back to that, which they should. And as far as Jake Paul goes, I have a fond respect for him because at the end of the day, he's playing the role of a dick. Yeah. He's playing, I mean, Logan Paul, he's playing the role of a dick and it's working, but you cannot take away. Like, I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, he hasn't been in the business that long. Yeah, you're right. But I mean, look at his athleticism and the stuff that he's doing.
Yeah.
I grew respect for him when he did a frog splash from the turnbuckle onto Roman Reigns onto the announce table. And that's saying something. So I can appreciate him and what he's doing. I don't ever want to see them try to make him a face because let him roll with that heel, cocky smugness with that because it only just builds and continue to build. And that's how you start to create long-term storytelling and rivalries. I'm curious to see where Karrion Kross is going to go from here.
I'm curious too, because I definitely think you can promote him and the way he talks on the mic, and you have Scarlett coming out with the old intro. I mean, I think that's where it is. St. Pete Ray says J.R. Lawson, Ricky Bobby versus Jake Paul. 3 more things here, and we'll get out of here. They also said there was the original plan in place for Jade Cargill to go against Nia Jax, but that changed when the former was injured. The White Six versus the Judgment Day, which couldn't happen because Bo Dallas got hurt. And call-ups possibly from NXT, Trick Williams and Lola Vice. Give me some final thoughts here on the Evolution because we're going to wrap it up. And we'll be here tomorrow night. I think we're going to be here at 8 o'clock. So tune in. We'll give you some final resolution on that. I'll ask Facebook, but I think I'm pretty much going to do it. But give me some final thoughts here on the Evolution.
I'm excited because just coming back from Nashville, the creativity is flowing. I want to work more. Very inspired. Got to go to a Johnny Cash museum, and like I said, it was just very inspiring to see the creativity with Johnny Cash. It's exciting, man, because now we got the draft, and it's gonna be what's gonna happen. What are the the talking is done. Now we get to see what the Buccaneers are gonna do. And we're going to do that tomorrow at 8 o'clock, hopefully, because I think there's going to be so much stuff that's going to happen, that's going to transpire. Something's going to happen. And honestly, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if the Buccaneers don't make a pick tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if they trade and we see bold prediction. The Cowboys haven't done a deal with Micah Parsons. Could the Buccaneers trade for Micah Parsons, and that way the Cowboys can have 2 picks in the first round? I mean, obviously that's far-fetched. I'm just joking, guys. I'm getting tired. It's 11:30. I got to get up at 4:30 in the morning every day for work. But no, I appreciate every single person that's called in last week as well. That show was amazing. This show is amazing, and we're only going to continue to grow. We're only going to continue to get better, and you guys are going to see it. But you guys got to continue to call in because we greatly appreciate you, webheads. And I love being a part of this show. And like I said, I'm looking forward for tomorrow. I might do the 6-pack. I don't know yet. But I'm definitely I'm going to get some wings. And make sure you guys join us. You have to.
I'm going to have to try to get some wings too because I think I'm going to come on at 8 o'clock. We'll get some food, maybe get some Hungry Howie's pizza or something like that.
Nice.
And we'll make it happen. But, man, look, it's like the NWO. You're part of this. You're part of this for life. So thank you very much for joining me, my friend, and we'll see you tomorrow night. All right.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah, there you go. Right there. There's this gun salute right there. We'll get him out of there on that. We'll read the rest of these comments, and then we will end this for the night. Peter Blake's the best. Thank you, Mr. JR. Appreciate you. We'll see if your safety is in consideration at number 19, Mr. Nick Imawari, I believe his name is, and Bucks skip up first for Bengals edge. That'd be Trey Hendrickson. We shall see what happens with that. Thanks a lot to all the guests of the night. Mr. Leo Haggerty, former Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions and Amped Up Sports. Ira Kaufman, the king of Newport Richie, the sage of Tampa Bay. For Joe Bucks fan, JC Allen of Sports Illustrated, and of course, Louie from the Frozen Pirate podcast. All the callers, Harry, Ray, all of you guys are welcome to come back here tomorrow. Like and subscribe to the Sports Web on YouTube. Friend me on Facebook at Peter H. Blake. We will have a decision. We'll put it out there. You want me to start at 8 o'clock tomorrow on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television? Facebook stars are open. YouTube Super Chats. Do 3 things. We'll wrap it up here. Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. And for fans of the Sports Web and the Tampa Bay sports fan, especially you Go Bucks fans, as we are almost at midnight here on NFL Draft Day, it's your time. We'll see you next time on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. As we always say, Go Bucks.